Greetings and welcome, my friends. This is the mechanic, the deck we showed being put together in yesterday's video, although we only showed the initial assembly. Since then we've continued to adjust the deck and have ended up at this point. A true Toolbox style deck, playing an assortment of 1-drops that can be fetched out by the Gearhulk. We have a little bit of everything from life gain to card draw, and removals that can be fetched out with a Gearhulk. We've got a long list, by far the longest deck list we've ever done, so let's get to it. We're playing an Authority of the Consuls as a way to make blocking a bit more difficult for the opponent, as well as gaining us a bit of life when the opponent plays out men. Case of the Uneaten Feast is life gain for us when we get men in play. And with the bounce we have, we'll be able to gain life on a regular basis. It's a great way to keep us in a game when we're taking damages from a source we're not able to stop. Dusk Rose Reliquary is a removal in the form of a 1-mana artifact. We can search it out with a Gearhulk, and its drawback of having to sacrifice an artifact or creature is easy for us to fulfill. This is a great and easy way to take out a problematic creature the opponent controls, plus, it can also hit artifacts if they have something we need gone. Novice Inspector is a cheap detective we can play out, and when he enters he'll generate a clue token that we can sacrifice for an extra draw. He is one of our cheap men that will be happy to bounce back to our hand with an Elder to replay again, turn after turn. Nurturing Pixie is a small flyer that will bounce something back to our hand. We can bounce any permanent, but the card we're most likely to return to hand is the Hunter's Talent. This will give us nearly endless removals if we have an Elder to bounce the Pixie back to hand. Against opposing creature-based strategies, this combination of cards will spell GGS. Thanks for coming on the big show. Haywire Mite is another tool in our toolbox of goodies. We can use the Mite to exile an opponent's artifact or enchantment. And when it dies, Mite will gain us 2 life. District Mascot is an artifact destroyer we can use to repeatedly snipe opposing artifacts. He does need to have a pair of +1/+1 counters for his ability to work, but we've got ways of getting counters on him, and he gets a counter just for attacking while saddled. Against artifact-heavy decks, the Mascot could be a wrecking ball. Mistbreath Elder is one of the major players of our deck. He'll bounce back one of our men at the beginning of our turn, and when he does he gets a counter to make himself a bit bigger. Over time, this can make the Elder a rather beefy monster, one that can run the table. Pawpatch Recruit is a fantastic bounce target for the Elder. When we play this rabbit out with Offspring, we'll get little token to help with blocking duties. With the Recruit in play and his Offspring token, any removals that target one of our men will immediately trigger the pump ability of the Recruits. Bouncing it repeatedly with the Elder and making more and more tokens will make it very difficult for the opponent to be able to keep our bigger men down. As a bonus, the Recruit comes with Trample, so if we make it big enough it can get in for damages whether it is blocked or not. Basilisk Collar is a solid equipment that gives one of our men Death Touch and Life Link. It's a great way to make one of our men a serious threat or give it the ability to trade with any enemy. Equipped to the Gearhulk, and we have a monster. First Strike, Death Touch, Life Link and Trample all on one of our men? Fountainport Bell is a great little artifact that can fetch us out a land or simply become card draw later in the game. We can use it to bail us out of a situation where we're stuck on lands. Ghost Vacuum is a repeatable exile from the grave artifact in case the opponent is trying to use their grave to bring back their men. This will eat up their grave 1 card at a time, but if we need, we have something in the deck that can exile their entire grave in one fell swoop. The Lost Jitte has been found. It's another strong equipment that we can use to our advantage with any one of its 3 abilities. Note that one of the abilities prevents a target creature from being able to block. For those instances when we need to get in for damages, but they have a blocker up, we can take a charge counter off and smash in without fear. Goldvein Hydra has X in its cost, but the Gearhulk is fully capable of fetching the Hydra out. In games where we need a little extra punch, we can fetch it then play it out on our next turn for as much mana as we can pump into it. The Hydra has haste and trample, so it will be able to get in for damages if we can make it big enough to trample over enemy men. We're playing a pair of Cathartic Parting. These are additional ways of dealing with opposing artifacts and enchantments while allowing us to reload our deck with critical cards. In a standard that's loaded with artifacts and enchantment men that don't like to stay in the grave, this will help us out a lot. The Hunter's Talent is removal that we can easily bounce back to hand with our Pixie. If there aren't any threats we have to remove, we can level up the talent and give an attacker +1 power and trample. The trample will let us get damages past any chump blockers. As a bonus, getting this to level 3 will give us card draw if one of our men has power 4 or more. Innkeeper's talent has been a force since it arrived in Standard. It can make any one of our small men a force to be dealt with over the course of the game. At level 2, any permanence we have with a counter on it will get Ward 1, and at level 3, our permanents will get double the usual amount of counters on them. It's been a fantastic card, and it still wrecks opponents. Lumbering Worldwagon is one of the new vehicles from Etherdrift. It has power equal to the number of lands we have in play, and to help itself out, it'll search out a basic land and put it in play for us. It does have Crew 4, which is pretty steep, but the mana fixing and land fetching makes it worth it. With a Hunter's Talent on level 2, we can give this a power boost, as well as Trample when we send it in. Reclamation Sage is a card that we haven't seen get played much, but in an environment where artifacts and enchantments are pretty common, the Sage will do some work. With an Elder in play, we can bounce this back to hand for repeated smashing of any opposing permanents until the opponent is rendered inert. Tranquil Frillback is a multi-tool in our toolbox. He is life gain, artifact, or enchantment destruction, and can exile an opposing grave. With an Elder, we can bounce him for repeated use of his Enter's play abilities. Brightglass Gearhulk is one of our key cards. He'll be able to fetch out any one of our tools from the toolbox. Bouncing him with an Elder or Pixie gives us another round of fetching up more tools to use against the opponent. He brings the cheese board with plenty of extra cheese. For lands, we're playing 4 Fabled Passage, the land we can sacrifice to fetch out any basic from our deck. 2 Restless Prairie, the Selesnya man land. For Lush Portico, the Surveil Duel. For Hushwood Verge, the forest that becomes a duel when we have a forest or plains in play. 5 forest, and 5 plains. Playing the deck is rather easy, though it will look complicated because of its toolbox nature. Ideally, we get an Elder out early with another one of our men that we can bounce back to hand for a repeated effect. The Basilisk Collar is one of the first cards that should be fetched out with a Gearhulk, as it will give us life link on one of our men, and that could potentially swing the tide of battle, and that's without taking into consideration the Death Touch ability. We are vulnerable early, depending on what we've drawn to start the game. We either play defensively or go aggro if we've got the right men in hand. Being able to judge what to do at any given point in time will be a critical skill to have. Keep in mind we have removal that can be fetched out in the Dusk Rose Reliquary, or removal we can use repeatedly if we have an Elder, a Pixie, and a Hunter's Talent. We are capable of sniping plenty of artifacts and enchantments with the payload we have, so smash their things if given the opportunity. That's the deck, boys. Let's go play some games.
Do you want to play a game?
This is OM nom nom nom. No wait, it's Omni as in omnidirectional. That has to be it. We get a 4-lander with a Gearhulk, a Collar, and our 1 mana removal. We'll need to have excellent draws, but we do have the right colors for the Gearhulk. Keep your hopes up. The opponent looks to be on mono white weenie. Hopefully they don't get off to a fast start. We draw our mascot, and we'll play him out. He won't be doing any blocking unless they have something that's freakishly huge. They throw down a Pride Mate, which will start getting bigger immediately, and as long as they can keep gaining life. On the bright side, we have a Hulk. We get an Innkeeper's Talent, which is perfect. We can play it out and start loading up our mascot. We might not be able to keep up with the Pride Mate, but he'll be big enough to stop other men from coming in. They play out a Sheltered by Ghosts and take the Innkeeper's Talent, but leave us the mascot. I'm not quite sure what to think, or if they have any idea what they did. You can't stop the opponent from being their own opponent. We've got enough to play out the Basilisk Collar and equip it. Doing this might turn this game into a staring contest, which is fine for us. Buying time is exactly what we need to do. They need help thinking, so we'll turn the lights off. It's almost lights out anyways. They play a Vanguard, assemble the team they will. then follow up with a channeler. What they should have done was play the channeler first. Oopsie poopsie bro. They send in their white rhino. No wait, it's a pumped up cat. But it doesn't have trample, and our mascot will trade with it. We'll block up and get our talent back. It's time to bring in the Hulk, and we can fetch out a small package that can help us get back in the game. The Elder for sure, since we can use him to bounce the Hulk and get more tools. We do already have our key pieces of equipment. A way to gain life could be good too, but the Recruit would be very helpful here as well. They drop in another channeler. That's fine, my pants are sturdy. Then they drop in another pride mate, and their men will get swole. It's like they went to the cats and bats gym for a workout. They send in the big channeler, but will decline the invitation for a meet and greet. No thanks bro, we're fine without any of that. We'll play out the Elder, then follow up with the Recruit. No offspring though, we need to have mana to equip the collar to our Hulk. Death Touch on a first striker is absolutely bonkers. It's so good it's only legal in 13 states. With our last mana we'll play out the Jitte. With some charge counters on it, we can use it to wreck the opponent. They thought about sending in both bats, but end up holding up the smaller one. Clearly the opponent is not fond of reading cards or becoming familiar with the ability symbols on the cards we have. Nice bro. We'll block their bat with our Hulk. He will smash that bat so hard, it will end up in another galaxy. Oh yeah, and we'll gain 5 life. We'll bounce the Recruit, and we'll play it again during our turn. This time we will pay for the offspring. We can sacrifice the token to play out the Dusk Rose Reliquary and exile their giant bat. That's right, smell you later. We're slowly turning this table, and before they know it, we'll have all the tables turned. For now, we'll hold what we have, but we'll be able to take the beatings to their face very soon. We draw an authority, and that'll make all future men they play out enter tapped. If we can deplete their numbers, it'll make blocking that much more difficult for them as well. Our surveil land shows us a forest on top. We'll bin it as we want to keep getting ammo, and lands won't help much at this point. They go through their turn without plays. 42 life seems like a lot, but they are not out of reach. We draw our second Innkeeper's talent, and we'll play it out right after playing our Recruit. Let's take our first talent to level 3, and we can grow our men twice as fast as before. Let's send in this 9/9 beefcake. Hulk wants to smash. It doesn't matter if it's a blocker or the opponent's face. Or both. The opponent would rather take it across the face. That's going to blacken an eye. They get their own authority, but have they the guts to send in their big cat? We draw the multi-tool in our arsenal, the Frillback. He destroys pants, slaps faces, and eats the opposing grave, and is not afraid to tangle with enemy men. Prepare your shorts, bro, for a staining. Let's equip the Hulk with the Jitte and get in there. The cool thing about a maxed out talent is we get 2 charge counters on the equipment instead of just 1. They play out an Enduring Innocence, which is more life for them, as well as potential card draw. We'd like to take it out if possible, but even now that is a 2-step process that's slightly expensive. We'll keep bouncing the Recruit and playing it out. This turn we'll max out our other talent. And now we'll have double counters. That's 4 with every trigger for those keeping score at home. Hulk smash. Get in there, buddy. That's 15 first strike trample damage going in. And the opponent eats like a pie. Once upon a time, they had over 40 life. Oh yes, a lurker bat will surely save the day. Make that double lurker bat. They arrived with a fresh set of underpants for the opponent. We're going in for the final hit. It's GG's even if they block the Hulk with 3 men and the Elder with another. Damages, bro, damages. Good night, sleep tight, don't let the shark man bite. This is Senpai, no wait, it's Senpai. No wait, it's no tie. No tie for the wicked. We get a shuffler special, But with this deck, we're playing so many 1-drops it's hardly a problem. The problem really is what to play out first. We have only a plains, but we could go for a forest early to get our first men down turn 2. Keep your pants on. Getting our men down quickly could matter, so we'll play out the passage and fetch out a forest. That'll let us play out one of our men and the authority on our next turn. Bro is on Boras. His biggest threat is making us fall asleep. Yawn. Wait, is it working? When you have only an elder out, you can choose to not have him bounce himself. We draw a passage, which is great, but an untapped third land might have been better here. That way we could have potentially played out the talent and the recruit. But this way is fine. Slower, but fine. They play out a doll shop. Looks like they want an endless supply of blockers, but we do have a way of dealing with their enchantment in hand. We'll play out the recruit, no offspring. Remember that by bouncing another one of our men back to our hand, the elder will get bigger. Next up, we'll send their doll shop back in time to when men didn't play with dolls. Smell you later, doll shop. Next up, we'll use the treasure they gave us to take our talent to level 2. I was considering pumping the recruit, but getting in for the most damage possible seems like a better plan. Get in there, little frog buddy. Our elder wants to make sure they get the frog out of here. They play out an Enduring Innocence. It's good card draw if you can keep it on board. If we get another Cathartic Parting at 2, we'll end up going back in time. We drew a Hunter's Talent, which is absolutely awesome, but I would like to get more mana that is not their treasures. Let's play out the wagon this turn. This station wagon will get us another land and put it right into play. We'll pump the elder, and he becomes a beefy 6/6 frog monster who eats enemy men for snacks. That's right, feed the elder, bro. They drop another plunderer for double the treasure token making ability. There's no risk in giving away treasure tokens, right? They send in their treasure-pooping buddy, and we take a pretty good smack this time around. That's all right, we're about to unload some pain all over their face. We'll play out the Hunter's Talent and use it to snipe one of their plunderers. 1 is fine, but not 2, get gone girl. Next up, we'll play out our recruit, but let's use the tokens they gave us to level up our Hunter's Talent. Then we'll drop in the recruit with offspring. At the beginning of combat, we'll pump the token, and now the recruits can crew our wood panel station wagon from the 80s. Let's send them in and we'll give the hunter boost to our biggest guy, the Elder. Oopsie poopsie bro, they blocked the wrong one. That guy has trample now. They too are bored with their own deck. They hit the reset button with a board wipe, and now it's up to our top decks. They follow up with a Caretaker's Talent, which is not a blocker. All we need to do is get one more point on them. We draw a Frillback, and that'll close the game up nicely. Let's play it out, and after it gets pumped by the Innkeeper's Talent, we can use him to crew our family station wagon. It's only after we crew that they realized it was GG's. Smell you later, bro. Yawn. This is Magic Mike. He hides his face because he knows we're right. We get a 3-lander with double recruit, a Sage and a Hulk. Let's smash. Keep your pants on. Even without Offspring, an early recruit can end up dealing a good amount of damage before we have to slow our roll. Oh no, not a discard, bro. Haven't they gotten themselves in trouble having to face the endless sea of Monument to Endurance? That should have killed off all these discard players. They hit our recruit with a removal artifact. That's usually not in the arsenal of any discard bro. We'll play out the Sage and take out the removal artifact. Never give them the Scry from the Nightmare for free. Make them pay for that one. Wait a minute, they're on Esper. It's starting to stank up in here. Stank like the rear end of a pixie. Of course, you had to know that's what they're playing. We'll let go of one of our lands. Luckily, we have the right colors. We need to play out the Hulk. He will smash. Let's go fetch up a couple cards. The Elder is always one of my choices. He can bounce back the Hulk for more fetching. The other card is a bit tougher, since there are some things we can use to combat their discard, like the Inspector or even the Fountainport Bell for its one-time draw. But the Basilisk Collar is an equipment I love to go for since it will give our Hulk the ability to really smash. We'll send in the Sage. I really don't think they're interested in a trade. They play out a Scavenger, the latest addition to the Pixie Bro arsenal. Bouncing anything else, bro, or is it time to sacrifice? 2 in the air, that's all they've got. We draw an Innkeeper's Talent, but we'll want to start this turn off with playing out our case, then landing our crazy frog, the Elder. Then we'll play out the Talent. We want to be able to get in there for beatings as much as possible. With the first talent trigger, we'll put a counter on the Sage. This will let the Sage get in there for damages without trading with their scavenger. Keeping as many men on board is key against Pixie. They fire off bounce, but they didn't bounce any of our men. Oopsie poopsie bro. Let's get in there. They blocked the wrong one. Pixie players are also not bothering to look at cards and what they do. They do their trick, and we have to toss our talent. Another Pixie, and that's going to cost us the collar. With our hand depleted, we'll want to have excellent draws from here to Underverse come. Sure, our hand might be gone, but what's on board favors us. We'll get the Hulk back in our hand and play it out. We can do this all day. Let's grab the Hydra and a Recruit. We have a land we can use to play out the Recruit, and we can send in the Sage for a hit. We don't want to risk them double blocking the Elder, so he'll stay put this time. One Pixie versus 9 power worth of men, and they are at 8. I like our chances. More bounce, and they hit our Elder. That's going to seal the deal. They'll make us discard, but we'll toss the Elder. The Hydra can come down for an X value of at least 4+, what we have on board will be 11. And it's all trample damage. One Pixie has no chance. We get a land, make that X equals 5. Let's get in there. Damages bro, damages. GG's extra cheese. And that, my friends, is how you cook Pixie. No wait, is another satisfied customer.